morning, everyone. I'm joined this morning by Todd Olson, our Vice President for Student Affairs, and Dr. Olson and the entire team in Student Affairs has done a tremendous job supporting our students as we prepared for this fall semester. So Todd, let me begin by expressing my profound appreciation to you and all of our colleagues in Student Affairs for the incredible effort over these past few months. Thank you. And in our conversation today, I thought I'd ask Todd to share more about some of the work that our colleagues have been engaged in. So Todd, let's get into a conversation. This year, as we prepared for a virtual learning environment, we also prepared for an all virtual new student orientation. Can you talk about what it was like preparing for this with our NSO team of staff and students, and what was the experience like for our first year students?
So I'd be happy to, President DeJoya. Thanks for the opportunity and pleasure to be here. And new student orientation this year was not like anything we've experienced before. And I really want to credit both our professional staff led by Matt Barnes and the really wonderful and creative student staff. When they learned we were going virtual, they made the move to create a very vibrant Canvas site, almost immediately collaborated with partners across campus. And what we learned as we got into NSO was that the students were even more engaged in their virtual small groups than they were when they're in an ICC classroom or out on the lawn in an ordinary August. And so we were very encouraged to see that. There was a lot of creativity that went into making those small group experiences meaningful and great points of connection. There also were, as you know, some very creative new elements in NSO, and the Racial Justice Panel and our Community Expectations Panel were two of those that I think made an impact, made a difference, and they joined some of our longstanding traditions. And we were very pleased with the strong turnout. Students really stayed with it throughout the week. They really seemed very interested, very engaged. So we were very heartened by that.
Well, congratulations. Now, earlier this summer, we also moved our Community Scholars Program online. This is a more than 50-year-old program for first-generation students. How would you describe their time together over the summer?
So I think it is not an exaggeration to say that what happened with the Community Scholars Program was both creative and transformative. Again, that staff team, frankly had some anxiety and had some hard work in making that transition happen. And that team led by Davida Bishendat and her colleagues did a remarkable pivot. And a team of colleagues came together to creatively envision what the program could be like online, to make sure they were partnering with faculty who could really bring these key topics that serve our students so well to life in the virtual format. And again, what we found over the course of those weeks was that students made powerful connections. And their classroom learning was rich, and many of them described that in very positive terms. And even more than that, the sense of connection with Georgetown, the sense of support and the ability to find supportive friends, peers, and mentors worked out very well through that program. The closing banquet, we wish it had been a banquet, but the closing event for Community Scholars was really heartwarming and meaningful. And it's clear that even though we were miles apart, the connections were really strong.
Thank you. So this was a very different year for our move-in process with a small number of students living on campus. Can you describe what the move-in process has been like, and how did our team adapt to this environment and to the public health framework that we have in place?
Sure. It was indeed a most unusual move-in. In ordinary August, we line up thousands of people and it is a festival atmosphere. This year was a bit quieter, but still I think a very welcoming start on the hilltop. We had about 70 students who'd been here in the spring who stayed through the summer. We've welcomed about 300 upper class students over the last couple of weeks, and about 100 of our new students will join us over the next 3 days. And throughout that process, we've had a great team of people, many colleagues from Student Affairs, led by our Residential Living and Student Centers team, who have partnered beautifully with our public health team, colleagues from facilities, auxiliary services, Hoya Hospitality, and many others. We have in the Healy Family Student Center a set of stations set up, and we'll recreate it again tomorrow morning, that bring students into compliance with all the public health guidance and steps they need to take, that get them prepared for the food they'll need to get started, for those students who need to spend some time quarantining before they're ready to move about campus. And then just to get them settled into their spaces. All our students are living in apartments on campus this fall. And I think that process has gone very smoothly so far, but it's gone smoothly really because of tremendous teamwork from a whole lot of staff across the university and tremendous flexibility and a positive approach from the students that we've welcomed.
Thank you. Now, over the summer, I know you and your team working with students, you all were very active in preparing for the possibility of a virtual learning environment this fall. What are some of the plans for students in their extracurricular activities and their clubs? How are students staying connected as well as safe and healthy?
Sure, it's a very good question. And before I move to that, I just want to applaud my faculty colleagues who've shown so much creativity in bringing our classes into this virtual format, done so in remarkable ways. In the co-curricular space, we've taken a number of steps. A number of student organizations have continued right through the spring, some through the summer, and many getting started again in the last week or two. Rather than our large CAB fair, our student activities fair, which you and I often visit on a warm Saturday afternoon, this year, after a lot of creativity, we stretched that out to 20 hours of opportunities for engagement over 5 days. So students could be part of sort of a smaller Zoom room of groups that were of interest to them. Actually, to be clear, it was a platform called Shindig, which seems pretty appropriate for CAB fair. But students describe that as a great chance to both get a sense of the sort of broad sweep of what's available to them here, and a chance for those one-on-one or small group conversations that make them feel connected again with life on the hilltop.
Yeah.
I'd also note that we're launching now our Georgetown Weeks of Welcome, another student-led initiative. And I think I probably didn't say enough about the NSO student staff and just their creativity, their leadership. We're seeing the same kind of dynamism from our Georgetown Weeks of Welcome staff. They have events planned over the next couple weekends that range from comedy to escape rooms to meditation to trivia. It looks like great fun. And I'm really encouraged that our students have lots of opportunities to find their home, find their connection, even if it is in the virtual space at this point.
Thank you. As you know, we're encouraging in our public health campaign, every Hoya everywhere, to support public health and consider the kinds of actions that each member of our community can take to have a positive impact on public health. How do you see our individual and collective public health responsibilities in this moment? What can we do to help each other uphold these important commitments?
That may be the most important question of the hour right now. There are a few things I'd say about that. First of all, I think everyone in our community understands that each of us has a significant responsibility to just take the public health guidance seriously, to make sure we are attentive, not only to our own needs, but the needs of others, other students, our neighbors, our families, anyone we interact with. So I think that individual responsibility is really important. The other thing that I think we're all aware of is that our ability over time, and when the time is right, to come back together more fully on the hilltop depends in large part on how it is that each person who's part of the community can contribute to that. What are the steps they can take that move us in that direction? And again, it's not simple, and we know it's not a simple path to get there, but that direction is one I know we all have our eye on, and it really depends on all of us making safe and thoughtful choices and making sure we're being attentive to what we're asked to do, and encouraging others in appropriate ways to do the same.
Thank you, Todd. I can't thank you enough for everything you do for our community and for joining me in this conversation. Is there one closing thought that you'd like to leave with our community as we begin this fall semester?
I have just a few very brief thoughts that I'd want to share, President DeGioia, and here they are, especially to our students, but to everyone in our community. Wear your mask, be kind to each other, keep your distance, get ahead of your readings, take good care of yourself, and find something to be grateful for each day.
That's beautiful. Thank you very much for joining us. I'm very grateful to you, and I look forward to being with all of you again tomorrow in our next video. Take care of yourselves, take care of everyone around you, for every Hoya, everywhere.